Are you sure the other speaker isn't it?
Other speaker is my computer, so I don't think that will be us.
I see.
Yeah, so we'll just have to deal with this. All right, guys, can I get your attention, please? We're going to start right now. If you could please quiet down for the next 20 minutes or so while our very esteemed guest Sean gives his answers. Yes. All right, so I'll just start with the first question that we got from Aiden. Thank you. What does a typical day or week look like for you as a technical gameplay designer?
Okay. So, I'll first, before I completely answer that, I just want to first say who I am and what my role is. So, hello everyone. My name is Sean Wagemans. I am a technical designer at Obsidian Entertainment. The role of a technical designer is someone who designs and implements game mechanics. So, the technical part is because I have a background in programming, and the design part is, of course, the design. So I come up with game mechanics and systems and such. I write up documentation and I pitch them, collaborate with the team and directors, and then I implement them and I iterate on them. So that is the role of a technical designer. It's a hybrid between programmer and game designer. So as far as a typical week goes, um, it depends on how far in production are in the game, but sort of early to mid, basically I go over the game design document or talk with the directors of the project and figure out mechanics that still need to be added to the game. Then I basically come up with my idea of how it should work, how it should feel, and I go and discuss this with the directors on the team, and so we can hone in on the idea. Then I have that documentation, and I start implementing and programming that mechanic for a couple of days. And so that will sometimes involve artists, other programmers, what have you, collaborating, working on that. And once it's finished, I go back to the team. I sort of show them what I've done, and that can lead to like, hey, this is great. Let's put it in the game. Or we need to let this bake for a little while longer. Can you go back and work on it? Or we might realize after having it in the game, we don't even want it anymore. It might not be what we want. So we'll either cut it, or we might there's a term we call shelving, which means we keep all the content in the game. We just don't use it. But we can figure out how to reuse it for something or some system later on. So that's kind of my week, is like designing and communicating and then building the thing and then presenting it and iterating on it with the team.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So we have a next question from Aiden again. What steps, education, experiences, networking led you to becoming a technical gameplay designer and working at Obsidian?
Okay. So this is kind of a long story, so I'm going to try and make it short. Basically, when I was like 24, I was an independent draftsman. I had studied drafting and architecture, didn't like it, had always wanted to get into video games. So I went back to college at DigiPen Institute of Technology. I applied there and I wanted to study game design, but I realized I couldn't design the things I wanted without being able to implement them. So I also studied programming. Then to get into the industry, this industry is very much what we call foot in the door, which means it's very hard to get into, but kind of once you get into it, your options open up. So the first job I applied to was for a gameplay programmer, just programmer at Bungie. And I was also applying to all sorts of other places, but that's the first place I got to. I got the job. Well, I got rejected for the job the first time, and then I asked immediately after the last interview I had. I said, "Hey, I still think I'm a good fit for this job. What can I do to show that I'm the right fit for the role? What skills do you think I was lacking?" They gave me that feedback. I immediately updated my resume and my portfolio website, reapplied, and I got the job. And so I worked at Bungie for 2 years as a gameplay programmer. But I did not enjoy that job. I didn't enjoy the company. Not to say it's a bad company to work for. That it was a personal fit, and so I applied to Obsidian. I got through a couple of interviews, and I didn't get the job. I wanted to be a UI UX programmer, which is user interface. Didn't get the job. Immediately messaged Josh here, the other guy on call, who's our recruiter, and I said, "Hey, I still think I'm the best fit for the role. What skills was I not relaying, and how can what do you want? What are you looking for?" He gave feedback. I immediately changed my resume and my portfolio, reapplied, and a couple weeks later, I got hired. Um, then working here, I've been here for over 2 years as a UI UX programmer. And the team here is very small for the project. I was working on Avowed. And so I always wanted to become a technical designer. So over the course of this project, I told my manager frequently during our reviews, I said, my goal working here is to eventually be a technical designer. And so I made that very clear. And then because it's a small team and there's an overwhelming amount of work to be done, oftentimes there's opportunities to work in those roles as a technical designer. So I spoke with other designers and programmers, and I found odd tasks that weren't being done that I could help design and implement as if I were a technical designer, and I got approval for that. So if you guys play Avowed, like the crafting system, the cooking system was an entire thing I designed, I pitched, I prototyped, and I implemented, despite the fact that I was a UI programmer. And so when the game wrapped up, I basically went, hey, I've proven all these skills. It's been clear I want to make this transition. I would like to, and I got approval, and now I'm working on my next project, and I became a technical designer. So for most of my career, I was not a technical designer, but I was clear about it to my managers. I tried to find opportunities to do it, and I guess I was always working towards that. Um, Another thing is when I was at Bungie, I worked full-time remote because of COVID, and I barely knew anyone. Here at Obsidian, I work 5 days a week in the studio, and I don't just do that because I think I work better. I do that so I can build relationships with my coworkers. And this industry is very much about relationships. It doesn't mean you have to be buddy or, go out drinking with people and stuff, but it's good to know your coworkers. And so working here, I was able to make myself present to the directors, to my coworkers. I got to know the other designers and technical designers and programmers, despite the fact that I didn't work with them. And so that was, I was able to communicate with them and find opportunities to change my career. To where I wanted to go. So yeah, sorry for that just information dump, but that's sort of my long path that got me to this role.
Oh yeah, that was actually very insightful. Thank you for that.
Yeah, no
So
problem.
we have the next question. How do you improve your skills as a gameplay designer? And are there any strategies or techniques or practices that you do?
Yeah, so I had a couple answers for this. Sorry, let me bring up the notes I gave. Yes, the biggest thing you can do, I think, just in this industry is first of all, play your own game. And this goes even back to when you're in college or in this game design club, if you guys are making games, play your own game constantly. I try to play the games I work on 4 to 6 hours a week because if you are unaware of the way that your game works, you can think you do, but if you actually don't play it regularly, you'll get out of touch and you're making all these decisions in theory. You're making uninformed decisions and you will start making mistakes in your design. That is something a lot of designers do, is that they have very strong opinions, but they don't play their game and they're just doing things in theory, and the stuff that they implement is just terrible because they're out of touch with their game. So make sure you are playing the games you're working on constantly. Um, Also, play similar games within the genre you're making. I want to make it clear, like playing a game for research is not the same as like enjoying your like binge playing a game or something. Because like I have my games that I binge play, but like if you're researching a game try and dig into the ways that they do things and how they did it and how that like identify what type of experience they're going for and how everything in that game that is or might not be there is supporting that experience. And see, once you start doing that and analyzing games, you can start thinking of in your own games how you can identify what experience you're going for and what things you can add or remove to enhance that experience. Let's see. Oh, yes, make a lot, and I will say this over and over again, a lot of small game projects. And these are not entire games. These are like in crack open Unity, you should be able to like make a movement controller or something and then make like one game mechanic, one or two game mechanics. It doesn't have to be a full game. It doesn't have to be start and finish. You don't need things to support it like music or lots of art or animations or like levels or a win state and stuff. You should be practicing implementing things in games, a wide diversity of things, because that will rapidly get you experience in game development, both as a programmer and a designer. Plus, it pads out your portfolio. The only other thing I can say is what helps a lot is like vary up uh, what you do in life, as far as like your experiences. Most people in the games industry, they don't just play games all day. They're people who they go surfing and rock climbing. They are movie buffs. They do woodworking. They go bicycling. They make models and art and all kinds of stuff. Like they're if all you do all day is just play video games, you might not make a very good game developer because you need other skills and life experience, particularly if you are a designer. So go travel, go meet people, try new experiences, get outside of your comfort zone, because that'll not only refresh you when you're not developing games, it'll get you away from games, but it will give you all these new experiences that you can apply to what you do and develop. So yeah, that's the advice I can give on how to develop your skills, which it was play your own game, research other games, research, don't just like binge play. Uh, Make a ton of prototypes, ton of very simple demos, and get out there and experience life just beyond playing video games. So, yeah.
Yeah. So next question we have is from Brandy. How do you overcome fears about job stability or income when pursuing a passion-driven career like game design?
Ooh, that's a tough one, and I didn't finish my answer.
It's
Uh,
crazy for a ninth grader to be thinking about that, but good on you.
yes, this industry is, I wouldn't say collapsing, but basically there is a post-COVID bubble that is popping. During COVID, lots of people bought video games and lots of studios hired up. Now, less people are out of quarantine and those studios aren't selling as many games, so things the industry is sort of course correcting right now. That can be scary. So basically, I would say always try and be following your passion in this industry. This industry is notorious for what's called like this, I guess you call it like the 7 year itch, I've heard it called, where people will stay in this industry for 7 years, and that's like the tipping point where they either go, I hate this, I got to get the hell out of here, or they're so passionate about it that they stay in it. And so I would say make sure that uh, long-term career, make sure you are following what you're passionate about and you get better and enthusiastic about what you're passionate about, and do that, because that will keep you engaged in your work. It'll keep you driven in your work, and it will definitely improve the quality of your work. And with that comes sort of a job security where if you've been in the industry a long time, you've produced a lot of stuff, you can find another job if your studio closes or something. And it also gives you, I guess, some opportunity to negotiate pay. So yeah, that's what I can say. I can also say that being a programmer, even though I'm a hybrid programmer designer, programmers get paid a lot more than non-programmers. So that also helps quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So for the next question, it's from Tabin. What was the biggest obstacle that you faced working in a dev team, and how did you and your team overcome it?
Yes. So usually this comes down to communication. So you have a lot of passionate people, passionate and talented people working on a project, and sometimes that can lead to conflicting opinions and conflicting ideas about design and such. Um, and that can lead to sort of like not animosity, what am I looking for, resentment, if you are not communicating with your team and working collaboratively uh and working to make it the best product possible. So like there have been times when certain tasks have been taken away from me and handed to other people, but they're unaware that this was like a feature I owned, and that got me really frustrated. And like, if I had, for other people, sometimes that'll happen and they won't let their manager know, and they'll be like, "Hey, I developed this and designed it. I'd like it to stick with me." They'll be like, "Oh my God, I didn't even realize that. Here, take it back." But some people don't say that, and they just sort of sit there stewing like on the fact that they're what they've created has been taken away from them and they never communicated that. And then like months down the road, they'll raise that concern and that becomes a point of contention. Um, so definitely be very open and communicative, but don't be like aggressive about it. But make it clear what your kind of expectations and what you are working on and what you intend to work on is going to be, because it's very easy in this environment, particularly with a lot of remote work, for your things to sort of shift around suddenly chaotically around you and you feel like you're losing control, but just talking can solve that. um, and that is even when I was in college working on group projects, that was even the case. And you guys, I didn't make games in high school. I wish I did. But if you guys are working on group projects, make sure you are communicating the aspects that you are working on, intend to work on. And when something is shifted uh, and you're frustrated with that, just try and be communicative of these things. So, yeah.
All right, thank you. And our last question, we might just have time for this. What's your top piece of advice for someone trying to get into the industry? And are there any programs, internships, or strategies that you would recommend?
Yeah. So, um, my number one piece of advice is, I said it before, is make lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots, just absolutely tons of little prototypes in like Unity or Unreal or whatever engine. In fact, having a diverse number of engines works too. But a lot of people try and get into this industry when they went through college and they just have like one thing on their portfolio, just one single project, and it looks very bad. It shows that they don't have a lot of experience, they don't have a lot of adaptability, or like they're hyper focused and it's not the right they're not the right person for the role. So my number one piece of advice is make lots, tons of little one-off demos and record them and save those recordings for when you're going to apply to the industry. Just like put them on Google Drive for a couple years down the road when you're making a portfolio website. When you make a project, it may run today, but like even 6 months from now, you may not be able to open it again and get it running. So as soon as you have your little prototype, take some video recording of it and just throw that on a Google Drive that you can remember, and you'll have it access to it when you're making a portfolio a couple years from now. Um, but yeah, make lots and lots and lots of demos. The other thing is, like I mentioned earlier, I got rejected from jobs, and then I immediately asked for feedback, and I changed my portfolio and resume, and then immediately reapplied. And both times, in fact, I did that in college too at DigiPen. I got denied for DigiPen, my college, asked for feedback, changed everything, reapplied. So 3 times in my career in the games industry, all 3 times that it mattered, I got rejected, got feedback, reapplied, and it got me the job. So don't take no as like a hard no. Take it as a chance to get feedback and improve on that, because you will get rejected from jobs. But that doesn't mean you weren't completely lacking. It just means that maybe you didn't represent yourself properly. Sorry, I'm just looking at my notes. Yeah.
I'm really sorry. I think our time is up, unfortunately, because I think our final lunch bell really just rang. So
Okay.
Let
me end it. Let me end it on one last thing. I'll forward this to Josh so you guys can forward it. I will provide my email and a link to my portfolio website so you guys can look at that as an example. Please send me any questions you have, and I will answer them as quickly and to the best of my ability. And if you guys ever need a portfolio review or to look at a resume or college application for game development or something, I'm more than happy to look at it. Feel free to utilize me as that asset. So yeah, cool. It was great talking with you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I'll send over a copy of the recording too.
Oh yeah, thank you so much. All right, I think we'll have to go now. So thank you again, Sean. Thank you, Josh.
No worries.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much again.
See you all around.